So I have a question for all of you probably. Slavoj Žižek mentioned that we are living in an era where we, in a maturity that everybody knows that all these projects are over and everything is rationally going on. We're living in a depolitized society. But it is strange that in such an era where we all know this and we are cynical to the projects which want something other or have an idea or a dream, this is surprising that racism is coming back. So what do you think it is possible, or why is this happening in such post-political, depoliticized era in a rational society?
I'm not sure if I agree with the term rational society, and Marina spoke about this term not in a positivistic way, more or less, but saying that this rationality is, it's now an interpretation maybe that I use with it, but this is not a rationality going together with transparency, for instance, or with all sort of democratic implementations we think of if we speak of rationality. So, in fact, it's not astonishing that in a society where terms like, as you said, tolerance, which comes from the Latin word tolere, which has something to do with suffering, are more on the basis of our society, that people are going to fight on the social means and their social fight and turn them ethnically. This is a weakness of the society. You can see it everywhere. And I would say this is a sort of an ethnicization, I don't know if this is the right English expression, of social questions. So why? Because the social questions are not able to be solved by political subjects, because we have no political subjects in that way, as Marina formulated it. People turn into some visions, strange visions, reactionary visions, to fight these non-fulfillable things by ethnic contradictions, which are no contradictions, under question mark. So, yeah, but you are maybe clearer.
Actually, if I understood you, you ask how is possible, how is possible that we have racism?
Has come back in an era where everything should be rational, in a depolitized era. Why people stick to such ideas in post-political society?
Yes, but this is the outcome of how actually to come into the post-political, as you call this, society is actually connected. So this post-political doesn't mean that is a kind of a situation where you don't have the antagonism. On the reverse, I will say. Practically, the post-political is based on the antagonism, but this antagonism is hidden in a certain way. This is the outcome of depolitization. So, as I said, transparency is the most clear way toward actually a complete obfuscation. I don't know. It's interesting to think also about racism. Just as a case that sometimes you talk about racism somewhere else, and I'm happy that this today was not the case, but it was really very clearly. So this is really a politicization of the whole field in Slovakia. as the speaker presented. But you have a situation that people are talking about racism, some going somewhere else, and in a proper context. They ask, but what? We don't have any kind of racist projects, any kind of racism. This is what happened, for example, in the context the last time we talked, also in Slovakia. That means that all these processes are actually not excluding each other. They are not on verse. Racism that is coming up is possible precisely because actually it's the whole social space is presented as some kind of technical. We have just questions, the problems are done by others, so let's remove them, but don't call them as racism. Like they have to go back from where they're coming. This is how it's the rhetoric. Or, I don't know, it said all these problems are just temporary, but anyway, in 1 year the things will be better. So in this way, I don't see any contradiction. Actually, I will say even more that this, I was searching that this process of transparency is connected with another process that is actually this depolitization. It's really making, like, say, a new kind of figure of a subject that is not a subject in modern global capitalism. And then this is not even the dead, not even the alive, but is actually an inert. So I think the inert subjectivity is actually somebody who is still alive, but practically completely incapable to politically react and thinks that his or her point of depolitization is actually political. So I don't see any antagonism. I see even more a problem if we think that this is really something that is coming out of the blue.
I understood that, but I just wanted to add that for me it seems like if it is the result of an absent alternative, like you mentioned, like there is no central point or central region and the alternative or the periphery, or also in the culture there is no alternative because the system is already building their alternatives for the people, what to wear and what to do, what to think, and also. So for me it looks like the only alternative is to do something, to stick to some idea, which is unluckily the racism. Like people want to, like you said, that I understood it like that people are desperate and they want to act. They want to do something.
No, they don't want to act. They don't want to do something. But actually the alternative is, for example, this place where we are today, if you ask for alternatives. And in which way? That actually a place, from my point of view, is constructed here, now, where this uttering of these words and these things is not just some kind of fairy tales or just some kind of talking, but already when you actually expose, for example, the analysis of the Slovak society, as the last speaker did, I think already the materiality of such precise analysis practically is opening an alternative. The question is if you don't take this as an alternative but one of possible narrations. But if you start to think about these processes, the way how actually they are functioning, what is that, for example, space, how the space is organized, for me, this is this possible moment of some empty theory that actually take a certain responsibility to utter in the space where it has to be uttered and not exposed somewhere else. So this would be my role, but maybe.
Well, you asked how come that racism has been reappearing, and I would say it has never disappeared. In the contrary, it's a basis of our civilization. I mean, well, not in Slovakia, but in general context, we can see it in the conflict of the so-called North and South, when all the white actors have always been in some way more tolerated or privileged, and all the colored colored races were not that favored. We can see it, for example, on the example of South African apartheid, which was completely tolerated. Well, there were some partly some embargo, etc. But even Margaret Thatcher in 80, I don't know when exactly, said that it would be precursor somehow to diminish apartheid in South Africa. But at the same time, there was imposed embargo on Cuba, for example, or some other people who just were trying to build some more equalized society, not based on racism. We can see it on the war with Middle East, with Iraq, with all of them. So all the white persons are somehow in favor in a global world, in the so-called in the world which Wallerstein named the European centralized world. So which is our focus. And then after the fall of the Iron Curtain and after the establishment of nation states here in Central Europe or in Eastern Europe, all of this and coming with the neoliberal ideologies which were imposed by Western world for all United States, they came fear the people. That's what Marina said. The people are afraid of so many things, and they are just looking for those who could be the scapegoats of that. So it's like, yeah, this is the mechanism how it works. You can maybe you heard on the streets. It's not just Roma. It's not just that. It's a hatred against all of excluded groups of people. Ultimately, there was some deputy in the suburb of Ružino of Bratislava who wants to buy some wellness center there, and the yard was supposed to be originally for homeless people, for some house for homeless people, and he said, no, I'm going to build a wellness center here. Do not want me to show the proper citizen those socials. This is also a kind of racism, maybe, this exclusion.
And I would like maybe to add, because now it seems that it's some kind of psychological mechanisms. You know, we explain some cases and so on. I think that the most important point is to think about what we, I must say, discuss a lot about the structural racism. For example, we talk about the case of Sarkozy deportating the Roma. This was possible only on the background of the legal system that is actually implemented in EU. And this legal system is implemented throughout the whole EU. Of course, is made, modified nationally, hide and so on, but this moment, it's really important. Why? Because Viviane Reding was there in the European Parliament and she freaked out and so on, but nothing was done. Completely nothing. Only was this performative, the theater. And the same is, for example, if we think about the deportation of so-called migrants without papers that are caught mysteriously on the Schengen border, and even outside of the Schengen border in those territories who are not seen in Schengen border. This is all possible because the law that is imposed, the legal system, the system of administration and bureaucratic system is structurally implemented and is available for whole the European Union. Of course, it's done and produced in Brussels. Just to give an example,